Welcome everyone to tonight's working session of the Rockland Board of Sewer Commissioners. This is a public working session for the Board of Commissioners only. There'll be no public comment except for parties listed on the agenda. This meeting is being recorded for playback later in WRPS. And with that, I'll take a motion to open the meeting.
I make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, Mr. DeRoss, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Valley?
yes.
And Mr. Hession's a yes, that's unanimous. Listen, I want to thank you guys. I don't know what happened last night. That went out, so whatever happened, happened. This is mostly around Sherry tonight, so I'm gonna just go into a couple of things that I have. They're on the agenda, but to just go backwards here. First of all, the narrative upgrade. I spoke with that core team we put together. Hold on. Somewhere here. And it's right in front of me. That's why I couldn't find
Could
it.
you, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, could you just mention who's on that core team again?
Okay, it's Matt Johnson from Veolia. He's the lead with Kevin Olson from Wright Pierce. Stephen Pierce of Wright Pierce Engineering. He's chief engineer. Steve Halloway. He's the overall vice president of Wright Pierce and head of the wastewater group. And he's housed out of Florida. Rick Katouche and myself. There
Thank
is
you.
another woman, Jess Richards, who is a financial analyst for Wright Pierce. And I think I sent you out that email she sent, Sherry.
Yes,
Okay, so what they've done is she's going to pull together our financial options and probably be in touch with you once we get through this. What we've decided, there was some going back and forth between this and the digester. I finally got them back on track and focused. This scope of work for the project narrative will be ready by next Thursday. We're going to digest it. We're going to go through it, edit it, tweak it. Once that core group approves it, get the Board of Sewer Commissioners approval. After that point, it's going to go to Town Council for review. And if everything goes copacetic, I sent an email to Doug Lapp today, and I got a very nice response back to him that I'll share with you after this meeting. About a presentation on March 7th at the Board of Selectmen's meeting. If you guys would want to go, I'll make it a public meeting, so that way you can go. It's going to be a presentation on the project itself as a two-phase operation. Phase one will be the purpose of this meeting on the 7th would be for that $2.5 million bond, Sherry.
yeah,
Dan. 1.5 will come out of a bond and 1 million will be out of ARPA funds, which is what will be going to the Board of Selectmen to request. Today I have a really rough service agreement with them, and what it is we're going to break it into two parts. First part will be the field work, and that is a absolute massive survey on the entire site, groundwater, soil sampling, everything for stability of any structures, piping, what have you, runoff. That would be for an entire facility upgrade. Then there's 155,000 in it for engineering on the phosphorus side. For them, for Wright Pierce to do the phosphorus portion of it. This is all part of that $2.5 million package. And the balance of the 2.4 million will be the design, bid, scope, the whole 9 yards, all the blueprints, what have you. So that's where that is. While I mentioned the generator, I mean, we went back, how long have we gone on about this damn thing? I've lost track of time. First, we went up in December 7th for ARPA fund for approval. for the generator, then somehow they wanted a portable generator, get in the mix. We had Wright Pierce going back and forth looking at it. By the time they came back and said the portable generator is just not practical for our application, plus it would cost more, the generator we had reserved was sold. So then we went back and then somehow Matt must have misunderstood, and he went back off on Matt is a Viola engineer, went off on a tangent and made a proposal for a portable unit. So I finally narrowed Rick down, saying, Rick, what are we after? And he says, we want to fix. So then I had to go back and get them squared away to figure out just, okay, enough's enough. If you can't make the decision, I will. Rick, what do you want for the facility? He said he wanted a fixed generator. Anything other than that's overkill. So with that long, sad story today, I will have in my hands next week a bid proposal and spec to be reviewed by town council and the town electrical engineer for review for a fixed generator, which would be well within the ARPA funds we were granted. Now,
Who's creating that bid and spec?
Veolia. Now, while I mentioned ARPA, I want to digress to the boiler. I think I shared with you at our last meeting or emails that the state basically shut us down because that part of it was non-compliant, which is absolutely asinine since we've been running on methane since 1962. But again, codes changed. They didn't realize that. Someone retired. It's a long, ugly story. So we pushed Hallam, and Hallam Engineering pushed the people of the code, the regulators, and they gave us a 6-month extension. Now, I also spoke with Chris Kenny because there is two outstanding bills totaling $100,000 for the boiler project itself, and another $13,250 for the fuel, that there was no contingency made for that money, which would have to come out of our pocket. So I got Chris involved. I sent him the contract. Unfortunately, he never saw the contract, the original contract. All the terms in it are terms favorable to Hallam and Wilkinson, and we're basically, lack of a better term, screwed. Now, back before Christmas, I had Wilkinson and Hallam in saying, look, this is unacceptable. Yada, yada, how do we go about splitting it? And we agreed that we'd get back after the boiler was installed. Well, the boiler is installed. And after talking to Chris, that contract is so pro the vendor, where he didn't see it, there were no contingencies made. For Rockland, I had no choice but to sign off on that $100,000 I was holding on them, because it would have been breach of contract. With that said, I also sent a letter to an email to Hallam and Wilkinson, telling them that I thought it unfair to withhold that fee that I'm authorizing paid in full, but the $13,200 at a minimum, I consider a good faith split between us. So Jay Higgins, who's handling it for Hallam, is out until Monday. So I expect a call back from him then. And I asked for a face-to-face meeting sometime next week to discuss that.
Question.
Uh,
Does that now mean that digester boiler is paid in full? There's no other bills coming through on it?
Yes, it'll be the $315,000 is paid. I spoke with Jennifer Constable and
Mhm.
told him about a dilemma. She just said, see what can be done. She's going to look at it from the ARPA side, that maybe we can get that 30. If they don't meet us halfway, we can get that covered as a project override. So that's what I'm hoping out. And I told her I'd get back to her after I met with them next week.
Okay.
I think let's put it this way, it should go favorably because they really want the piping job. And
Right.
look extremely,
Right.
and I can tell you one thing. That contract, I'm gonna look at very extensively. I'm gonna give copy naturally to you guys. But I am gonna make sure that this never happens to this board or department again. I mean, this contract was so pro vendor, we absolutely had no choice. Where else were you on that? Is there anything else I could think of on that?
Who will have a copy of that invoice?
Robin has it. I signed it yesterday, but she
Okay.
didn't put it on a warrant yet. I had already signed the warrant, so that'll be next week.
That's
We'll
fine.
probably do that next week.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is that now it's being paid in full. It's the time to gather all these invoices together and get them over to Jen.
Yep, okay, that,
That's
like
all.
I said, that is for the digester portion only. Now we're into the piping. Now, the
Correct.
piping, the scope of work is complete. The design is complete. Weston Sampson is doing a site visit tomorrow at 10 o'clock. They'll be doing the bid spec, but naturally to do a CYA, they want to see the job themselves and do a site walk around with Rick and Megan. I cannot make that. If one of you two feel like going, it'd be a good education for you. I have got papa duty tomorrow morning. Again,
time?
10 o'clock. Should be a nice day. I mean, it's not cold in there. If either one of you want to go, just give Rick a call, tell him you're gonna pop in. That's at 10. That shouldn't be more than 15-20 minutes. If you do go, just someone take notes. Where else am I on that? Other things that happened this week, there was, well, you heard us mention about that breakup on Beach Street. That sewer manhole that we thought it was for the high water on the downside of Beach Street heading towards Hanson on the 700 block. That turned out to be indeed sewer. It's a beyond the high water, water's just rushing around it from the bottom. So what they're doing is they're putting a French drain around it. Now we contracted with Yandell, the licensed drain layer, to do the work. They did most of the work today. Dave sanded it heavy over the weekend, and they'll probably finish, do the hardcore repair work in the spring. That is in our budget. It's for our repair budget.
Just to be,
Wait a minute, down the hall to the left.
just to be clear, when you say that is sewer, you mean that's a sewer department
Sewer
responsibility,
department's responsibility.
not sewer coming
No.
out of the man.
No. It's sewer department responsibility for the repair. That should stop the water and the icing of it. So that was that. I also yesterday went to Dynavac down on Airport Road on Industrial Park. They had their driveway paved last year. And what they did is they went over a manhole and buried another one. So before I wrote a letter, I wanted to see it for myself, so I knew what I was talking about. I went down, and on the right of way as you come in, as you're looking actually on the right, almost right on the street, there is a sewer manhole that's down about 8 inches in the dirt that needs to be collared or raised. They paved completely over the one in the middle of the driveway, and there's one in the back parking lot that's also covered up. I met with the administrator down there, Suzanne Carter, very nice. She did not know, claims to have not known that the sewer was covered up. However, Gary marked it out in the spring when they did the job, and she probably got covered up and they all forgot all about it. Long story short, I sent her a letter today with the sewer ordinance, copy of the sewer ordinance, a map indicating where they are. And basically they're coming back in the spring, in May, to repave that back. So I said, okay, while they're here, do the repairs. And I gave them to June 30th. They complete the repairs. at their expense.
Do we need to send them a letter?
I already did.
Oh, letter?
Yeah, I'll say, I sent them a letter,
Excellent. Okay,
in fact, I signed it today, and then it was a letter, a copy of the ordinance. Regarding the manholes and the covers.
Yeah.
And that we want to repair, it's in violation.
Yeah,
So
good.
that was taken care of. Roto-Rooter, they handle emergency work for residents that, if your pipe is blocked, what have you, you call them, they call one of their drain layers, they come out, do it. Well, some of their drain layers are not licensed in the town of Rockland, so I called Roto-Rooter and told them we can either A, supply them with a list of licensed drain layers in town and to use them. They came back and said, well, do you mind if I, meaning the general manager, get a license? I says, I don't care who gets a license, as long as you got the references and comply, pay the fees, yada, yada. He sent me some drain layer with just previous applications, so I got to get back to him. Robin came up with an idea that, because we ran into this issue with one other drain layer that I want to discuss in an executive session next week. That wasn't licensed, did some work, we had some problems with. I had a long conversation with him over the phone, a long conversation with Robin about him and some accusations that he made. So we'll be getting to the bottom of that, but I want to do it in executive session first because certain names were mentioned. And I don't think that's appropriate to discuss at this meeting. But she came up with maybe charging them a fee, and I thought at first it was a good idea, but I think we need to research that, because if we say we're going to charge them $500 every time they come in with an unlicensed drain layer on an emergency, they're just going to pass that off to the resident. So I think it may be a good idea, but it takes some finagling around. Last that I want to mention to you, that I sent you a copy of what I think we should add to our ordinance. I'd like you to look at that because there's some ambiguities when we come to existing stubs and new connections that I want to clarify. The other thing, as I spoke to Chris Kenny about, this may come as a little bit of a shock to a lot of people, but I'll break it to you now since I can only talk to you in open session, is charging municipal users the connection. Meaning if they build a municipal building, they have to pay the sewer fees because we have to treat it. We don't charge them for our sewer fees for sewer treatment. And Chris said, well, there's nothing in the Mass General Law that says we cannot. So that's going to be a discussion for the future too, when we talk about fees. With all that said, Sherry, I think this meeting should be focused on your needs for next week. So you tell us what you need and
okay.
where your dog work.
All right. I'd like to share the screen.
Shoot. Oh, I got to do that, huh? No, you can do it.
Oh, I can do it. Give me a minute to find. Oh, yeah.
Hi, Dan.
Share the screen. Go to that. Go to that. All right. Do you see? It's a mess. You see the agenda?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right. Give me a minute. So what I did is started to fill out our capital planning forms. So when I talked to Scott, I asked him what funds we had to fund these capital articles. He said very, very roughly 210,000. That's based on 2022 retained earnings, leftover money after the budgets and all expenses are paid.
Does that 210,000 include the leftover funds that you said that were from last year?
That is the leftover funds from last year.
Okay,
I had originally was projecting 130,000, but that's what we will have to work with for next year's articles.
okay,
So this municipal accounting is gets a little funky because of the way the years are broken up.
okay.
However, so the first one is the injector pump repairs for 25,000. This is the
You
form
touch
that
base with, you touch base with Rick on that amount?
this was what Rick said at our previous meeting when we were talking about it.
Okay,
And on the form, I am asking that we add these to remaining funds from the previous article that we're working on. So we have some leftover money from last year's pumps,
okay,
station pumps. We have about 37,000, give or take. So my thought is that can we add that together and just have one article? I expect capital planning is going to instruct me on how we get that done.
okay. And when are you going, next Wednesday?
So next week on the 14th, I'm going. The item that they're talking about discussing is the ordinance article. But I want to send these in to them as soon as possible.
No, you do, you tell us what you need.
I need to send these in to them as soon as possible, so the whole picture is on their radar.
Okay, go ahead.
Right
Let's
now,
do
they
that.
have nothing, and, you know, that's what they're gonna say. We got nothing from sewer.
Okay, go ahead, you tell us.
So that's why I've kind of been pressing to get this done.
Okay,
So if you're okay with that, I will do that.
yep,
Then we asked for the Spruce Street Station repair. This is to my wording was repair and rehabilitate the Spruce Street. Repair and rehabilitate Spruce Street Station,
yes,
and that it's similar to the Butternut Station.
correct.
Is that 100 or 125?
I would go, okay, now, here's, I think it could be, I think it's gonna come in, honestly, I would say around 100.
Okay.
Now, if we say it's gonna be 125 and we bring it in for 100, do we still have that 25,000?
We have the 25,000. Yes. Yes, and it would next year we would just have to do an article to use it for something different than.
Okay,
what
if we
the
put in
articles
for
allow.
100,000 and it goes, if we say it's 100,000 to capital planning and it runs 115.
We would have to make up the 15 from somewhere, operating budget, development fees, or whatever.
Okay, I would put in 100.
Okay. Okay, that's what we'll do. So that brings us up to 125. I am going to put in a request for the digester boiler piping.
That's already covered by opera.
Well, we have 200,000 for ARPA. And you're telling me it's going to cost 300,000.
I was gonna be 350.
350. So, you know, that's a good question. I don't know where these funds are going to come from. Because we have 1.25. We only have a total of 210. But I want to put all this before them, even if they're going to say, well, you know, you have to find the money. I just want them to have it on their radar.
Yep,
Is that,
no, I see where you're going.
yeah, just so they know. And the 210 is still very rough. Excuse me.
Bless you.
So we really only have 85 to play with, but I'm just gonna put it in anyway, because they need to know. And if we are going to use other monies, even if it's coming from the budget or wherever we're getting this money from, to commingle it with ARPA requires some kind of a vote at town meeting. So again, it's getting the paperwork started, and capital planning might come back and say, this isn't us, go talk to Doug or whatever, but we need to get the ball rolling and get the paperwork out there.
Okay, if you want to make sure that you're covered with the piping, and now the pipe, we don't have a choice in the piping. The piping has to be done, or we don't have a boiler.
Mhm.
If you, the full project is good for that, is going to be 350,000.
350. So, all right, so this has to be 150 because we're only getting 200 from ARPA, right? That's all we have left.
I thought for some reason we had 550 from ARPA.
515 was the total ARPA. We spent 315 on the digester itself. So that gives us the 200,000.
I would change that to 150.
Yep, agreed. Get it. All right, I'll do that. Hang on. Okay. There is also the matter of the generator, because you're telling me 200 is not going to cover that.
Well, no, Doug said there's,
So I'm putting in for 150, but
Then you have to install.
we already have, the Board of Selectmen already gave us 200,000 for ARPA funds, approve that.
yes,
I would leave that as it is. I think we're gonna be able to do it for 200,000.
oh, you think so?
Yeah,
Excellent, okay. Okay, great. Then there's just a matter of telling them what we're doing.
hey, Dan, that looks like we're not gonna get your hot tub you wanted.
I know.
Or my pool table.
Eh,
And then the last thing is the I annual control plan for year 2. That's 125. That was included in our operating budget. So I'm only submitting this so that they know what we're doing. And you can see here, it's included in our operating budget. So we're all set there
Okay,
to be funded from sewer department revenues.
you know, that I control plan for year 2, year 1 is already taken care of.
Correct.
Year 1, year 2, I don't think will be that high.
Good. Good.
No, I don't think it'll be that high, but keep it. The heavy hit will be this year getting it implemented and get it in place. No, that'll 125 or more than cover it.
Yeah. And then going forward from there, we're going to have to figure out, because this is ongoing for what, 15 years.
Yeah.
We'll have to figure out a better way to fund it, but if it's
Well, I
okay. in
think
the
that's
budget,
where
we
our
can-
fee review comes in.
Yes. Yes, that's going to be part of the. fee
And you know, that,
discussion.
again, that could be a point of negotiation with the town saying, okay, if they don't want to pay fees, maybe they assume responsibility for funding the I.
Yeah, a flat rate for every year.
Yeah.
Well, depending on what their municipal plans are.
Well, let me talk to Doug about that, because you know, that may not be a bad idea. Say, look, either that or we have to charge municipality for sewer. But
Which is going to be a whole lot of bookkeeping work for everybody.
yeah, but you know, this I, that order was against the town.
Mm-hmm,
So the town should, you know, help with some of this.
mm-hmm.
Let me talk to Doug about that.
Yeah, anything would be a help.
Let me
But
make a
I
note.
will submit this to the capital planning board.
Yep.
So those are the articles, and I don't think there's anything else. As I said, you know, where some of these funds are coming from is still being determined. But I want to put everything out before them so they understand what we are anticipating.
Okay,
and I
wait a minute.
think
I'm just writing a note for myself. I'm saying to talk to Doug about help with the EPA order by
Yep.
assuming responsibility, the town assuming responsibility to fund the I control plan. which they may buy into if we could say that that'll be
Yeah.
150 a year.
Yeah, that's not too bad. The last that I'm putting before them is the whole wastewater treatment plant upgrade.
Okay, now here's where we're gonna need a discussion, Sherry. Next year, very definitely, they're gonna see a request for 10 to $12 million. Because we have to start construction next year.
Yeah.
Now, I think you were at that meeting.
Yep.
And you take that 10 or 12 out of that 85 would be the balance would have to fund for the remainder of the upgrade. But depending on, go ahead, finish your note.
10 to 12 million for
Next fiscal year.
2024.
Yep. By July of 2024, we need that money.
All right. Spell everything. Yep, looks good. Okay.
And you know what, honestly, with the way things are moving in town slowly, through no fault of anyone. You saw the jump in the upgrade cost just by delaying it 3.5 years.
Oh, yeah.
I would leave that 75, 80 million.
Yep.
More.
That's the number that keeps getting mentioned. So
Well, the 75 to 80 million is for the whole nut.
it's the whole thing. Yep.
The whole,
But this is,
okay. But
yep,
out of that 80 million, we're gonna need 10 to 12 of that by next July.
yes, this is a multi-year fiscal impact. I just wanted to put the whole thing out there, and then thanks for your note. I added that down.
And what I would also add it down there is that is per EPA administrative order requirement.
Okay.
Because we don't have a choice in that. Or if you want to put, must be complete by April 31st, 2025. April 30th, 2025.
Yep.
Per EPA order.
How's that?
Do you want to add the docket number just to be on it so they know it's official, so they can reference it?
No.
Or do you want to put per EPA town administrative order? I don't know. No, they'll know it's for the town.
They know what it is. Yeah. I think that's all right. Do you think we should, put the docket order in there? Docket number?
I would, let me give it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I can find it.
Naturally. Okay, it is. Docket number. Capital CWA dash AO dash R01 dash FY22 dash 05.
CWA AO R01 FY22 -05.
issued July 14th, 2022.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, so that's good. Excuse me. So we'll get these in. That'll be good. Get everything before them. As I said, just to be totally upfront about it, this is my first go round at submitting capital articles, so I'm sure
Oh.
there will be more to follow.
You're a better person than I, Charlie Brown.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, get rid of that.
Okay, that's the capital plan.
That's the capital plan and includes the, and the articles for town meeting.
Okay, no, don't we have to have an article to change the ordinance?
Yes, and that's what tomorrow, that's what the meeting is on the 14th.
Do you want me to have Bob Galvin sit in on that?
I asked Doug what I needed to bring to the meeting, and he suggested maybe the document. I have already given to all the commissioners a fully edited document that has all of Bob Galvin's suggestions, as well as all the items that the commissioners have discussed in the past.
All right, what about the ones that I sent you the other night?
No, that was brand new. So I'm looking at these. We have a choice. We can.
I'd like to incorporate them in.
You want to put that in there? That's
Yep.
fine. When is our next meeting? Will we be able to
That
discuss?
is what I wanted to talk to you tonight. I'm gonna leave scheduling for that next
Oh.
meeting totally up to you. Now, I put off, we were gonna meet the 16th for a monthly meeting. I put that off a week to give you a breather.
Mhm.
So you tell me when you want to meet. I sent you a schedule. Yeah, let me share my screen with you.
All right, well, we're talking about, let me say this, we're talking about town articles. We are going to include this ordinance as an article.
Yeah,
Can we legitimately discuss these changes that you want?
yes, because it's all business.
Okay. I understand the need for the definitions. My question is spelling out the fees.
Wait a second, the fees on,
On,
in the definitions?
yeah. I'd like to, if you want to put fees in here, anywhere in our ordinance / our soon-to-be rules and regulations, any mention of a fee should just reference back to the fee schedule.
I agree. Well, what I put down, reason I
So-
put that down there was for you to know where for you guys to know what I was thinking.
Mhm, mhm.
I agree with you that in the ordinance itself, it should be the definition.
Okay. So I can certainly insert this into,
And you make the verbiage changes as you see fit.
okay. I'm just, anywhere it says fee, I'm just gonna say reference current schedule.
Yep, and we can discuss that when we get to the fees, when we discuss fees.
Yes. That way you only have to change one document.
Okay,
Um,
but like I said, here's what I had for the 14th, Tuesday, but you're not gonna be there. I thought your meeting was Wednesday.
no, it's on the 14th. I still don't, but I don't have a time yet. We were going to work,
I don't want to tie you up the whole day. I think you're gonna need time to prepare peace of mind, not rush it around. So here's what I had for that discussion on there. Now,
Mhm.
like I said, I put off a meeting on the 16th off a week to the 23rd to give you time to do what you need.
Yep, thank you.
So if you want to have a working session, I'm gonna let you call it.
Yeah.
This is my
on-
tentative one that no one's seen this. I haven't given this to Robin yet. This is just for us to discuss tonight. This is what I had
Yeah,
from meeting that night, if you wanted to talk about it.
on the
You
16th.
want to, like I'm saying, look into this I had ordinance and rules regulations. If you want to delete that, because we basically covered it.
And so you're suggesting this for the 16th?
We can meet, okay. We
Or
originally
what?
had our monthly meeting scheduled for the
Yeah.
16th.
Yes,
Then came up today about the narrative, and I was gonna have to go before the Board of Selectmen on the 21st. So I said, okay, instead of rushing around like a chicken with our heads cut off, why don't we make our monthly meeting the 23rd?
okay,
Now, that Board of Selectmen meeting also got pushed off to March 7th now. So we're
Okay.
wide open. I'm trying to give you a breather and not blow you away with stuff.
well, actually, I've done what I need to do. I've done the full edit on the document. I can just email that off. You know, I know what we need to do there. I'm good. I'm in a good place right now.
All right, Danny, you good meeting next Tuesday then to get up? Let's come up with an agenda that we can work on.
I'm pretty sure I'm all set.
Okay, you're not gonna get anything jabbed in your eye or your ass or anything like that, right?
Well, who
Say yes
knows?
on TV. Okay, so let's go down. We'll let stay Robert in there. Chapter 30B, I just want to leave that open. Articles to town meeting. You want to leave that on, Sherry, to just to finalize?
Can we assume that we're meeting after my meeting with Doug?
Okay, did you want to make that Tuesday night?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. Then I can give you an update on what happened.
Okay, we'll do it on Zoom.
Yes. Can we do it at 7?
Yep.
Perfect. As a side note for meetings, there's a potential that Zoom meetings will be disallowed after March.
Really?
Because the Zoom, the open meeting law allowed the Zoom meetings because of COVID.
Okay.
So, but town hall is keeping tabs on that. They'll let us know. Yeah, that works good. Then I can give you an update on
Okay.
what
The
occurred.
digest of piping update, I think you should have an update by then for you.
Okay.
I can bring up to date on the vendor meetings where they are. Ordinance of rules changes. You want to discuss them then, Sherry, or
Yeah, I'll let you know what happened at the meeting.
then why do we leave it superintendent position and I development fees?
Yep,
That look good to you?
that looks good to me.
Daniel?
Yes, it looks good.
Okey doke. Well, we can, if you guys wanted to sit for a while, we can discuss all business, which is fees, or do you want to hold off on that, or?
No, let's hold off.
Okay,
I'm playing with some numbers and I'll send something out so that we have it. For
Have
this
they
meeting.
have they come back with the fees?
no,
the rates?
what I, do, we have the, we have my examples. The only thing we got really, we want to maybe add is that, you know, about that engineering fee. I hope you guys understood where I was coming from with that. And then if we tack on fees to municipal for development, or even if they come in with the help fund the I&I plan yearly, it's their portion of responsibility for the administrative order, that may help out huge. I think they might do that. I really do.
Yep.
That would take $100,000 a year off our shoulders.
Yep, every bit helps.
Because like you said, that's not going away. And if the town can find the money to throw in 150,000 every year, toward just say towards the I&I or in category as into the EPA administrative order, you know, we can document where those funds will go. I can rest assured they'll go towards that order one way or the other.
Mhm.
But
But it would be nice
okay,
to have,
I'm gonna make a note to see if I could talk to Doug about that.
yeah, it'd be nice to have that earmarked, just so we don't have to.
Yeah, you know what? I think what I'll do is I'll wait till he gets through all this budgetary articles in the capital plan before I hit them up on that.
Yeah.
But I want to share you that email that he sent to me tonight about the dog and pony show on the upgrade. But it's going to be quite an in-depth presentation, I guess they want. So I'm going to need some time to prepare overheads and all that other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can find it, I would appreciate the moral support in the background. But if you
Yeah.
can't, don't worry about it. Sherry, do you need me to go with you with Doug, or are you comfortable on your own?
No, I feel good. I'm comfortable.
All right.
They're
We'll save the tough stuff for Dan when we need muscle on the piping. Dan, you're
That's
gonna
right.
handle that one, brother.
That's
You
right.
can speak their language. I'm too nice to him. All right, is that it for you guys? All
Yeah, I think so.
right, well, listen, I want to thank you very much and for the understanding, but one thing I'm gonna add into this. Executive session.
Now, check the open meeting laws on
Yep. I intend to do that, but
who qualifies. Yeah.
the reason I'm doing it this way is that I'll be mentioning names, and
Well,
I think it's best we do it this format, but I will check with Chris Kenny tomorrow.
yeah.
We're mentioning names and situations. I don't think we air our laundry out in public, and I think he's gonna want this one not. It's an awkward one.
If there's a potential for a lawsuit.
Well, I'm not, it's just that someone said they may file a complaint, so that's why I'm thinking of doing it.
Okay.
All right, with that, I'll take a motion to end tonight's meeting, and I do want to thank you guys for everything, especially bearing with me the last couple of weeks. I know I've juggled that schedule, but I've been going 15 ways to Sunday, but I think things are falling through. Did you see the last bill for the Veolia project manager?
Will you stop sharing for a moment?
Oh, no.
Come on.
How do I, wait, okay, wait a minute.
You're
There you
welcome.
are. There you are.
No, so,
Yeah, I did see it for the hours.
okay. That one there, the bulk of that was a confusion, I'll put it nicely, on the generator.
Mm,
Too many people had their fingers in the pie with that.
yeah.
And we have a guy on board now with this, on this facility upgrade from Veolia, this Matt Johnson. Brilliant guy, bright kid, nice kid. Too boku aggressive. He just charges off on his own. So he's a work in progress, reining him in. I mean, he wasn't involved in the generator. Next thing I know, he's got a proposal written. He's talking to Doug. So
Oh,
I'd rather we know what's going on first, because this is how we got in this boat.
deja vu. Okay.
All right, with that, I'll take a motion to end the meeting.
I make the motion.
I thank you. Do I have a second?
I will second that motion.
All in favor? Mr. DeRoss,
Yes.
Ms. Valley,
Yes.
Mr. Hesh is a yes. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Danny, you gonna go tomorrow for that tour, or Sherry?
That's tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
You know,
kind of,
it's not a must do. I mean, this is,
I would like to, just as you say, for the education.
then, I think you should try to get down there. They'll give you a hard hat. One thing I'll tell you to look out, when you see this stuff on the piping, every one of those are a patch.
Okay.
What had happened is that there's some of it, you're gonna see water stains. That's water building, condensation building up in the pipes over the years, which has caused it to rot. Which is, I think, is why they want to go to stainless. My thing is, I really wanted to push. If the cast iron, if the irons lasted this long, if we had proper maintenance, would it still be in work?
Mm,
Because the reason that piping rotted is because they had dips in it, so the condensation built up in those low points.
settled in it, yeah.
So
Is this the area down under?
you will be going, it's in a building directly across the street from the office.
Yeah.
You will be going downstairs on it, but it's a still, if you
think
want,
I
you can
was
see
seeing
from the balcony. But if you want a real good tour, you could follow the piping down. I've done it.
Yeah, I think
50
I was
times
down
more than
there.
that. I could probably do it in my sleep.
I think I was down there when I got my
Oh,
tour.
if you took a tour, you went down there.
Yeah, I think I was. All right, well, I
Good
will. All
night. Thank you very much, everybody.
Have a good night.
You guys
right,
are great.
thanks.
Talk to you.
Bye.
Night.